Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper and I'm here for Altenew, and my focus post today is using this great set called Be Strong. It's a cactus kind of garden, whimsical style set with lots of great images and sentiments. Now I'm working on a piece of white cardstock. It's bigger than what I need, so that way I can cut it down once, and that I don't have to worry about trying to center it too much before. I can cut it down perfectly afterwards. And I'm layering up 3 cactus images, and to do that, the one that I want at the front of my images, I need to stamp that one first, and then I've got some Inkadinkadoo stamping mask paper, and I've re-stamped the image on that and then cut that out with a pair of scissors sort of just along the edge, on the inner edge of the stamped image. And that way when I stamp my other 2 images, so I've got one on either side of my main image, and this 3rd image I am having to use another mask because this particular cactus doesn't come in a pot, but there is a pot in the stamp set, so I'm kind of making my own potted cactus. And then once I've finished with all my stamping, I've used the jet black ink from Altenew there. I can just remove my masks and you can see how that looks like the main images in the front. So I thought it'd be fun to create like a sort of a splash effect. Instead of colouring these images today, I thought I would just kind of give it a random look with an almost watercolour splashed effect. And that's why I didn't want to cut my card down initially, because I'm not really sure how far my splashes are going to go, and that way I can centre it afterwards. And how I choose which splash to use, I just kind of held it over the top of the card and sort of eyeballed it, and then I can just lay the stamp down, pick it up with the lid of my MISTI, and that way I can actually re-stamp it if it doesn't stamp perfectly, or if I want sort of a deeper colour, I can also re-stamp it a second time. So the inks I'm using today are also part of the new release for January 2017, and I've been so excited about these inks. I've been hanging out for some lime greens and some bright oranges, and these just fit the bill. They are awesome. So I'm using a few of the different colours here. I started with the Sun-Kissed, that's the lightest of the orange colours, and then I've used the Bamboo, which is the lightest of the greens, and then I've used the Olive, which is the 3rd, that's the 2nd darkest I suppose, and then the last one is Parrot, which is the colour that comes between them. So I haven't chosen the big splotches here because I wanted it to look fairly spacey, and I didn't want to keep adding too much colour, so what I'm doing here is selectively inking the stamp where I want. This is one great thing about the MISTI, because if I don't stamp it quite right, then I can actually add the ink on those parts or add more and then re-stamp it again. I did bring in some ocean waves in the blue just to add a bit of another colour, just to sort of create almost a visual triangle. And my last colour is called Orange Cream, and that's probably my favourite orange. It's nice and bright, and I've just selectively stamped part of the image as well here because I didn't want too much. Alright, so my sentiment comes from the same set, and I was originally going to stamp it in black ink beneath the cactus images, but I changed my mind. I decided to heat emboss it with some white embossing powder. So I did use my powder tool, and then added some Versamark ink and using some jet black cardstock from Altenew, and then hit it with my heat tool. And the trick here is, as soon as you see the embossing powder starting to melt, that's when you need to move on to the next portion of the sentiment in this case. I've got a top fold card here, and I'm using my ATG to add the panel. I have cut this down already, centered it and cut it down, and then added some scraps of fun foam to the back of that. I think this is a great way to use up my scraps of fun foam. I don't throw much away. And then I've just used some black foam, double-sided foam tape to pop up my sentiment, and then some liquid matte glue to add some black sprinkles. I have 2 other cards using this same stamp set at the blog over at the Altenew blog on this focus post, and I'll link that down below, so I look forward to seeing you there and showing you some different looks of these same stamps. So till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.